Thank you for joining me for this an uplifting moment. Let's reflect on the theme, Amazingly Ambitious Ants. While taking a walk, I noticed a trail of ants trekking across a large rock. It was a two-way trekking, going back and forth to some food source and back to their colony. They were also traveling fast. As I paused in my walk to watch them work, I realized that considering their size, they were covering an amazing amount of rock very quickly. While watching the rush hour traffic of ants, I imagined looking down upon a highway of cars from a height where the cars would be the size of these ants. I estimated that cars seen from such a height, being the size of these ants, would be traveling about 60 miles an hour. For their size, these ants were traveling the equivalent of about 60 miles an hour. How these little six-legged creatures had the strength and stamina to travel back and forth like this for a long time and at this speed was absolutely amazing. Then, too, they were working purposely and together. This was an unmarked highway, but they were keeping in their lane, ants going both ways, and no head-on crashes. As best as we can tell, ants aren't particularly smart, but they certainly have a lot of programming packed into those tiny brains, allowing them to instinctively do what they do to survive and thrive. God's created ants and all other creatures, great and small, to be an integral part of His creation, to live out their lives in accord with His plan. We humans are also creatures created by our Creator to live out our lives in accord with His plan. The difference between us and the ant and all other creatures, great and small, is that for us, instinct plays a very minor role, and choice plays a most significant role. What the ant does instinctively, we're to do intentionally. We humans can choose whether we cooperate with God, carrying out His will and His plan for us, or not. I have to admit that there are times when I have little enthusiasm, energy, and motivation for doing that which I know I should. I can face a stretch of the day when I feel the way I do on a holiday afternoon after a big meal, finding it easier to imitate the sloth than the ant. What can help us face each day with a significant degree of the ant's energy and endurance is to realize we're doing far more than the ants gathering of their thimble-sized underground storehouse of food for a later season when there will be no gathering. We can be serving and pleasing the Lord God Almighty, the fruit of our labors being stored up not just for a season, but for an eternity. This, then, is a lesson to be learned from the ant, according to the book of Proverbs, chapter 6, verses 6 through 8. Go to the ant, you sluggard, consider his ways, and be wise. It has no commander, no overseer or ruler, yet it stores its provisions in summer and gathers its food at harvest. Thank you for joining me for this an uplifting moment.